Hello and welcome again to the Rising Generation Leadership Podcast with me, Errol Lawson. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world today. We really appreciate you and we believe in God for the very best for you as you go on your leadership journey. If you've been listening for a while now, you know that we're doing a series where we talk about the 5 core abilities of highly effective leaders. We've done over 100 episodes here on the Rising Generation Podcast, and we were able to deduce from those conversations that there were 5 things that leaders did really, really well. We call those the 5 core abilities of highly effective leaders. And so on this episode, we're sharing today about one of those abilities, which is the ability to get the best out of the people you lead, whether they like you or not. Right? And if we're honest, there are times when we're leading people who are not necessarily for us or with us, and obviously, if that's the case, we don't always want them in our teams, but there are situations whereby we have to still get the best out of them, whether they're with us or not. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to break it down for you today and hopefully give you some insight, some perspective into what I believe is a really, really key ability that we need to learn in order to step into our biggest challenges and be the best that we can be. So, recently, the footballer Ashley Cole, you may have heard of Ashley Cole. He played for Chelsea Football Club here in the UK for a number of years. I think he played around 80 games for England for the national team as well. So really well recognised, one of the best left backs in fact in football in England for a very, very long time. I think he now plays in the MLS over in the USA for Los Angeles Galaxy, but Ashley Cole came out recently and he said, you know what, of all the managers that I've had in my footballing career, the one that I appreciated the most was Carlo Ancelotti. Really interesting because in his career he had managers like Jose Mourinho, who's now at Man United. He's had Luis Felipe Scolari and Avram Grant and so many other great managers, but the one that he said was the best was Carlo Ancelotti. And here's why he said that. He said that the distinguishing factor was that Carlo Ancelotti was able to get the best out of him and get him performing at his highest ability. He was a great man manager. He was able to get the best out of him. And if you actually read Carlo Ancelotti's book, you'll find that there were several other amazing players who said the same thing. People like Zlatan Ibrahimovic and even Ronaldo. A lot of these guys said that Ancelotti was the one that got them performing to their highest potential. He's an effective leader, and we can learn so much from this guy. You see, as leaders, we also need to be able to get the best out of members, out of our organizational staff, whoever we're working with. We've got to figure out how do we get the best out of them. Liz Wiseman, who will be on the podcast soon, has written a book called Multipliers. And in the book Multipliers, she talks about 2 types of leaders. She talks about the multiplier kind of leader and the diminisher kind of leader. The multiplier and the diminisher. The diminisher, she said, is someone that if you can liken to your least favorite school teacher. If you imagine a school teacher you had when you were younger who was maybe someone who didn't connect with you, didn't engage with you, didn't motivate you, maybe they were just kind of really off with you, very distant, and because of that they didn't get the best out of you. They didn't get your highest level of performance out of you, and so you didn't really enjoy being in their lessons. A diminisher also is someone who they believe to themselves that they know everything. They believe that they have all the answers, all the solutions, like their way is the only way, it's either my way or the highway, is their kind of attitude. And they diminish the potential and the ability of everyone else around them because they're the ones that must shine. That's how they see the world. A multiplier, on the other hand, is different. A multiplier kind of leader is a leader that says, you know what, it's that teacher you had who was really good, who was really inspiring. They were connecting with you, they inspired you, they got the best out of you. When you were in their classes, in their lessons, they enabled you to perform at a higher level than you thought was possible for yourself. And they were just this amazing, inspiring character. That's a multiplier kind of leader. A multiplier leader also says that, you know what, they respect and appreciate that the collective intelligence of everyone else in my team or department or organization is far above what I know myself. So they believe that they do their best then to create opportunities to bring out other people's ideas and opinions and views, and they want to, they want to get other people's thoughts and suggestions and bring it all into the mix sincerely and genuinely. They want to hear from people. They listen really closely, really keenly to what others are saying and thinking. This is what a multiplier kind of leader does. They get the best out of their people. So guys, the question then is like, well, my heart for you guys is that you guys will all become, multipliers, rising generation. You guys were able to bring out the best in our team so we can step into our greatest challenges. That's what we're all about, right? So what stops someone then from being a multiplier leader? What gets in the way potentially? Well, the first thing is this, I think, is fear. It's fear of the other, fear of the unknown. And so many leaders will say to themselves, you know what? I can't walk into that environment or hang with that kind of person, be around those kind of people. And they're afraid of being around people who don't look like them, talk like them, walk like them, sound like them, dress like them, They're afraid of the other. And guys, I want to say for you guys who are listening right now, that is not for you. That fear is not for you. You can overcome that. You will overcome that. And you will move forward. We come against that fear today in Jesus' name. So, fear is a big one. The second is a lack of self-awareness. So when some people don't know who they are, they're not aware of what their strengths are, their talents are, their giftings are, how good they really are. They don't see how great they really are for themselves. When they look in the mirror, they don't see a lion, they see a pussycat. And so because they feel that way about themselves, they carry that sort of lack of self-awareness, and it turns into doubt, and it turns into this fear of being able to relate to other people because they just don't know how great they are. Guys, I want you to know you are great. You have ability. You can talk to anybody on any level, in any room, wherever it is. You can go in there and you can represent. You can do it. I want to encourage you guys to step out and start representing, start, being the true person that you really are, being that greatness flow from inside of you. The third thing is that some people, you wouldn't believe this, but some people just have made up their mind that they don't like being around people. They don't like people. I was in a school recently, and imagine this, the teacher said to me, Errol, I hate these kids. I just don't like being around these kids. I can't stand them, she said. And I was like, so why are you really here? Like, students don't learn from people they don't like, and they don't go along with you, so they can't get along with you. How can you have that attitude? Like, guys, here's the thing. We've got to get past ourselves. It's not about us. And if we're actually in a leadership position and we feel like we don't like people, I would suggest that leadership is not for you. I would honestly suggest that. We've got to get past that. Leadership is not about us. It's about the people we're leading. It's about the big picture, about the vision, about the mission that we're aiming towards. We've got to get over that and get over ourselves, which leads to our next barrier or obstacle, which is pride. You see, pride says that I don't need anybody else. I can do this. I've got this. It's all about ego. It's all about me being right. All about me having the answers and the solutions. And pride actually cuts off your potential. It cuts off your progress. It places a lid and a limitation on what's possible for you, for your team, for your organization. We don't want that. We don't want to stunt our growth. It's a massive consequence of pride and all these barriers that we stunt our growth, we stunt our ability and our impact. And as the rising generation, we're all about making an impact in the lives of other people, in our communities, in our cities, in this generation. So we have to find a way to overcome these barriers, especially in pride. Because guys, it's not about you. It's about the mission, the vision, the big picture. And we need people. Not that we use people, but we work with people. So, how do we develop this multiplier mindset? How do we develop this ability to get the best out of the people we lead and become more influential, I guess, in our leadership roles? Well, number one is this. It starts with us being a better leader of ourselves. When we become a better leader of ourselves, actually everything else around us changes. And there are some leaders who, you've seen it, I've seen it, where they're not great leaders of themselves, and maybe they're not committed, they're not integral, they're not reliable, and so what happens is we almost self-sabotage. It's like a death by a million cuts, and the more that we let ourselves down and we beat ourselves up, actually it shows up outside in our world. People pick it up. And that lack of confidence, it is tangible. People read it from us. And so we feel less comfortable with engaging with people, conversing with people, building relationship with people. But when we become a good leader of ourselves, guys, and we're disciplined, we're diligent, we're focused, we're committed, we're reliable, we're all those great things, guess what happens? We start to feel great about ourselves. Our self-worth increases, our perceived value increases, and as such we get greater relationships, greater connections, and we're more confident in building those connections with other people, and we can get the best out of them. But it starts with us being a good leader of ourselves. Gotta ask ourselves right now, are we really leading ourselves well? The next thing is this: we've got to be able to obviously stop self-sabotaging, but we've got to be gracious. Sometimes, we forget that where we've come from in our journey. And we forget that if it wasn't but for the grace of God, where would we be? We didn't end up here as these inspirational leaders and communicators. We went on a journey of discovery and enlightenment and overcoming challenges, and people had to be gracious with us, giving us opportunities for us to grow and develop. And in the same way, we need to be gracious with those around us, even when they let us down, even when we fail. I remember about age 19, there was a man named John Holcroft who was a mentor for me, who gave me an opportunity to start my first company at 19 years old. And I remember when I was about 19, a long time ago now, but I remember putting in this funding application to get a grant towards my project, to help me to get one of my projects off the ground, and I needed to get John's signature. And John wasn't around, and I had a deadline. I was like, what should I do? And I remember I did the worst thing I could have done. I actually forged John's signature on the application form. I said, John, I thought to myself, well, John won't mind, he'll be cool with it. It's gotta get the form in, right? Big no-no. I put the form in and I signed it, I submitted it, and John obviously found out, and I was in big trouble, man. But in spite of this massive character flaw and this massive mistake that I made, John never gave up. He never stopped believing in me. And he gave me chance after chance, and I realized that with his help and his guidance and direction, that actually I could be a better person. And guys, I want to say to you guys, you got to be gracious. You got to be gracious with those that you're leading, those that are in your team and department. You got to be gracious. You got to not be too harsh, be gentle. Then you got to be teachable, and you got to be humble. I say wherever I go, I say, guys, every day is a school day for me. Wherever I am, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be a student in the room. I want to learn from everyone around me, always asking questions. It's not what you know that makes you great. It's being able to ask the right questions. And so if we're going to be the best leaders of people to multiply others and those around us, we've got to be those that ask questions of people and learn and be students and be willing to just be open to new ideas and concepts and ways of seeing things different than our own, and not just with lip service, but genuinely and sincerely open to hearing the opinions and views of other people. That's how we've got to be, guys. We've got to be humble and we've got to be teachable. Then we've got to appreciate the value of the collective intelligence in the room, in our organization. Really sincerely appreciate that, guys. If you even have a team right now of more than one, right, you are blessed. What that means is that if you've got a team right now within your organization or team are literally acres of diamonds. hidden treasure, just wisdom and insights and perspective and ideas that you're able to harness and leverage and work with together to make something happen. Wow, you are so blessed to have a team in the first place. But you've got to recognize and appreciate that actually you've got to pull out of your team those things. Recognize that there's more. Appreciate the value of the collective intelligence around you and start to pull it out. So lastly, you've got to make it happen and become this multiplier kind of leader. You've got to actually be intentional about creating opportunities for people to be able to share and open up. In Jim Collins' book called Good to Great, he talks about having these things called red flag meetings. A red flag meeting is a meeting in which there's a red flag on the table, and anyone in that meeting can pick up that red flag at any time. And when they have the red flag in their hand, they can say anything whatsoever without any fear of retribution or condemnation or punishment. Anything. That means that what happens is you get really honest input, really honest feedback about what's really going on with your people and in the organization. A red flag meeting. And guys, we have to be intentional about creating these times and opportunities for people just to be real with us about how they really feel. It's got to be a safe environment. You got to create safe places. If people are not safe enough to express how they really feel and what's really going on for them, then you're going to be living in this kind of bubble where it's just you on your own thinking that everything's all cool, everything's okay, but actually people are not happy. You've got to give people an opportunity to open up and speak up. Guys, I hope you've really got something out of today's conversation about being a multiplier kind of leader. And my prayer is that you will all grow and become the leader you're called to be and designed to be and make an impact in this generation to the glory of God. If you've been blessed by today's episode, I'd really love if you can go to our to iTunes and just do like a review for us. Like we've got obviously our iTunes page there, but we don't have many reviews so far. I'm asking just to encourage you really to go there if you will and give us a nice review and a nice rating so we can also help us to get the rankings there and get some more listeners on the podcast. I really appreciate you guys. Really thank you for listening. If you've if you've been blessed, if you've not read the book yet, go and read the 5 core abilities of highly effective leaders, where this content today has come from. It's available on Amazon, or go to errollawson.com, the website, and download a free sample right there. If you're interested in coaching, if you're thinking I could do the coach right now to help me on my leadership journey, my business or ministry, just give me a shout, drop me an email, guys. Happy to have a chat with you and maybe even signpost you or offer you some guidance or connect you with somebody else who could help you along that journey. Drop me an email to errol@errollawson.com and I'll be more than happy to assist in any way that I can. God bless you. Look out for the future interviews, by the way. We've got Liz Wiseman coming up. We've got Dr. Cindy Trim coming up very soon as well. So stay connected, guys. Have an amazing day. God bless you. Bye-bye.